Hi everyone, it's Sara Oblak Speicher here. How are you? The other day, my husband and I were browsing through TV channels the other night actually, and came across a recording from a women's downhill from Val d'Isère in France. And it's been a while since I was watching skiing on TV, and it brought back so many memories from my childhood and not only of my own skiing experiences, but as a family, in our country, skiing is one of the most popular sports, and our skiers have had tremendous successes over the decades. So it was really something that we would all gather and we would either listen to the broadcast on a radio, or we would watch the races on TV. So, it was kind of a nostalgic moment. But this is not what I want to talk to you about today. What really struck me was, as we were watching downhill, the fierceness and the focus and faith of those racers as they tuck their arms in, they go down into a squat and they race down the hill at 110 kilometers per hour, which would be around 70 miles an hour. It's just art. It's pure art. And then in one moment, Austrian Nicole Schmidhofer, I think it's her name, she hit the fence under the angle that she literally went over the fence. And it was just a split second when she lost the balance, and off the rail she went through the fence, and she ended up rupturing, I believe, ACL and LCL in her left knee. Her season pretty much, I think, is over at this point. And it brought up an interesting point and a reminder of a reality that so many of us high performers are facing, right? First and foremost, she was the downhill champion, world champion of the last season. So she clearly was in her element. She knew what she was doing. It was not something that, she would be still a novice or unexperienced person. This was her element. And off the rails she went in a split second. Secondly, the racers that were still waiting on top behind her to go after her, imagine the mental pressure and the mental games and the mental, the mastering of your mind that it takes to focus that, somebody just went out and I am next to go down. The faith that you have, and again, fierceness and the focus to, again, get off the starting blocks and give it your all. I don't know if you knew, but after Nicole went out, 4 other skiers went out in the same race. And after each one, there was the next one in the starting blocks. Again, making this mental decision that, no matter what happened before me, I am next and I'm going to be just fine. Making this decision and having faith that this is really going to be just fine, even though, like I said, 5 of them all together ended the race in the same turn, pretty much. So why is this such an interesting and such a powerful conversation to have, especially right now, is for two main reasons. First and foremost, those of us who are high achievers, those of us who have this, how do I call it, like this, right? That no matter what's going on around you, no matter the circumstances, no matter the obstacles, no matter the pain, you will get up and you will find your way back. Just like Nicole will, just like Lindsey Vonn has, just like any other athletes, right? Pretty much every other, after numerous surgeries and bandages, injuries, we nurse ourselves back and we are determined to come back stronger and fiercer, right? Yes, of course it happens that in certain circumstances that's the end of a career, but yet still we find a way to prosper again in other areas. So we are using pain, I want to say, not as a motivation, as something pleasurable, but certainly not something that would stop us. The same with fear. We can stare fear right into the eyes, the unknown right into the eyes, and we are determined to conquer it one way or another. Now, as from my own experiences, right, there could be two ways of how to go about it. It can be a very I don't want to dilute the term masculine, but it's something that seems to be the most widely understood. So a very masculine way would be to literally go head through the wall and to force and push. And myself as a former athlete, this is exactly how I did it. It was the only way that I knew, was really go make it happen. Go do it, right? And as an athlete, yeah, it's a fine art. You have to know how to do that. As a high achiever, a leader, you have to know how to do it. And that being said, there's this other side of this conversation that I want to have, which is a little bit more softer side. And how can we combine both? How can we open up to receive more opportunities, more possibilities? Yes, even as athletes in such a competitor sport as I just mentioned, downhill, where you literally have three things: focus and faith and fierceness as you are racing down the hill and nothing is stopping you, right? So on the other side of this conversation, and why I feel so I don't want to say passionate about it, but there certainly is a lot of substance to it, is as we're moving into this new era, which I'm pretty sure you have heard about it already, and it's not just the new era as a new year coming up, but literally if you look into the history and if you look into the astronomy, I'm not going to go into all those details, it literally is a dawn of a new era with all the different shifts of energies and everything else around to fully support us, to really help us elevate the humanity. We have already been in the early phases of awakening. It's already happening. So that said, when I said earlier, to open up the softer side, open to receiving, there's so much to be said about that when it comes to athletes and high achievers, that literally we are going to be creating, and we already are creating, a new way to live, a new way to lead, and a new way to even play, to perform, right? Because as of now, even when we know that when you're an athlete, when you are accomplishing way more than could ever be considered as possible, you're not in it for the money, because you need to have this like I mentioned before, and there's no amount of money that can buy that. So it is already within you. This fire is already within you. So you're all in. But on what is happening at the same time, and this is something that we are working on transcending and really shifting the whole paradigm around it, is thus far, especially for athletes who are out there making millions, there's this notion of lucky you, you're so privileged, you're being paid to perform, shut up and dribble, right? Put your head down, don't mind your own business, don't get involved in anything else, just do your own thing because you're being paid to perform and you're here to entertain the masses. And yes, to a degree, you're there to compete against yourself, you're there to compete against others, to really push the limits of possible, to push the boundaries, to break records and stuff like that, to really top your best, your own best, right? But if we're really honest about it, especially here in the United States, this is an entertainment industry. And if you look at the athletes who are really thriving, are also the ones who understand that they are also here to entertain. And here's the fine line, right? How do you blend this line? How do you bring in this, as mentioned earlier, this masculine approach to make things happen, and then the feminine, especially for female athletes, to allow it happen and allow all these opportunities to come in, to trust and to have faith, even when the system is telling you, shut up and dribble, shut up and play, don't get involved in anything else, this is your focus. And by the way, because you're making all this money, you are being privileged and lucky you, right? Why is this something that we normalized? How can we change that? So what has been bubbling underneath the surface
for so long and is finally coming through. And I personally have been training for this for decades through my own career and through my own experiences and my own learnings, is really to shift that paradigm and to help not just the athletes. It's like trailblazers, those of us who have been feeling this inside of us, but we were not quite sure how to bring it up. The world certainly was not ready. I just had a conversation with somebody the other day who said, you know, for 25 freaking years she was hiding and she had no idea what to do with her gifts. There was no point of reference. There was no way for her to articulate how could she serve, because there was no one else doing it. And every single time she tried to mention something, she was shut down and tried to be compartmentalized in some of the boxes of, oh no, if this is not how you're doing it, you can't do it at all. 25 years. Imagine that, 25 years living only partially because you're consistently making sure that the brightest part of you, the one that lights you up, is tucked in safely and hidden from the world because the world is not ready. Imagine the burden, imagine the anchor that's wearing you down, imagine the weight of that. So, like I said, this has been brewing for me, and it finally is coming together. So what do we do here? How do we go from there? Well, first and foremost, we need to understand that yes, all those gifts, all these deeper, higher mission that we have and the vision, they can be realized and they should be realized, and the time is really now. There's no other time. It is now. And another thing that we are doing is, like I said, shifting this paradigm, especially for high achievers who, you know, when you look around, it's like, I have already created everything that I thought possible. Now what? Giving you permission to dream bigger, holding the space for your highest level of service that you have not tapped yet, this true greatness that you have not tapped yet, because it's on the other side of what the world has told you is permissible, possible, expected of you. And again, it brings the conversation around the athletes in as well, because, you know, shut up and dribble. No, this time is over. You are here to lead. You are here to make an impact way beyond the field, way beyond the court, way beyond the track or the swimming pool or the frozen slopes of hills, right? So how do we create this multi-dimensional, multi-directional, and multi-planar growth and success for you so that you can really bring it all out? This is exactly what we are doing here, and the time is really now, because like I said, it's not just envisioning, it's not just the permission to have this bigger vision and the dream, but it's also how providing you support on the cellular level, mental level, emotional level, spiritual level, and in addition tactical and strategic, that is custom to you. Because let's be honest, what is that you're doing and what are you called to create and how you are meant to create that and contribute to the society, it has not been done before. No one else has been doing it in a way that you have, and there's no blueprints. You know, somebody said to me the other day, well, I wish with all the mentors that I had, I wish they could, you know, open the curtains and let me see their own path so that I can follow it. And I asked them, like, well, with where you're truly going, is there even a path? You are a trendsetter, you are a trailblazer, you are an early adopter called to serve and support early adopters. The masses will follow years from now, but we are here to create the structural support, the new frameworks that don't exist yet, and it's already happening. And this is so rewarding, right? It's not just something that you and I would wake up one morning and it's like, oh yeah, you know what, I feel like creating whatever it is. Our souls already know. We have been guided here. Now the only question that remains is, are we willing to raise up our hand and step up and step forward and take on this responsibility? Yes, I'm saying this responsibility purposefully and intentionally because it's exactly what it is. In order to continue and to actually own your identity and being as a trendsetter, trailblazer, light worker, early adopter, thought leader, right? It requires focus, it requires fierceness, it requires faith. And this is a level of responsibility that none of us have carried before, especially right now as the world is hopefully coming out of this interesting phase, I should say, the phase of rebirth, right? As athletes in particular are carrying the weight of, I don't want to say the weight of, it's more of a honor of being able to be the stewards for uplifting the spirits and giving people the purpose again, in some ways aspiration to the youth of, hey, you know what, yeah, this is what is possible, this is what we can create. Especially, you know, I'm a mom to little ones, and they get so excited when they see somebody else do something and it's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea girls can do that. I was like, yeah, of course. So we are here, we are expanding the sandboxes, we are breaking down the walls, we are pushing the boundaries of what the society has thought was possible, what the society thought was permissible, and what the society thought was expected. We are breaking those barriers. And yes, that is a responsibility, because in order to do so, like I said, it requires a holistic support on a cellular level, on a mental, emotional, spiritual level, like multidimensional support. And it requires the stamina and the grit, and also requires the courage to release the old identities, to release the old world, to release connections, beliefs that no longer fit, that no longer support you, and completely surrender into the unknown. That is a lot to take on while still holding up and seeing the commitments that we have as commitments as parents, right? We have commitments to our families. As athletes, we still have commitments to our organizations, to our teams, to our fans, so to speak. As leaders, executives, we have commitments. So blending both of them is the game changer. How to blend those two worlds is a game changer, and how to shift those old paradigms into the new way, that is a true game changer. So like I said, I wanted to share this with you because it has been really coming through strongly. And I know for a fact that when I look around, it's like, wow, yes, it's happening, because I'm not the only one who feels that. But the more we talk about it, maybe there's somebody out there who has been feeling this, right, and desire and having this vision, but has not had the courage to raise their hand and said, yep, I'm one of you. Maybe this gives you the courage. Maybe this is an invitation to really take a different look, shift your perspective, elevate your perspective. Maybe this is a permission slip. Whatever this is, I hope it serves you, and I hope it inspires you, and I hope it motivates you, and I hope it gives you a little framework of what are the elements that you'll be looking to have and acquire and leverage, I would say, so that you can succeed in carrying out this mission and really making an impact that you are destined to make, and you know it, because this is simply one of the things. Just like an athlete, you have this right in you, the fire, nothing's gonna stop you, even though 4 racers went out right in front of your eyes. When you get on your track, you're gonna be the one who actually sees it through, and you have faith, and you are fierce, and you're going after it. This is the same thing. It is really the same thing. So if you have any questions, please do let me know. We are here to support you. If you want to have a conversation in more details about how you and I could get to work and play and create magic together. You know where to find me if you're ready to get started and if you know it. Again, reach out and we'll go from there. Sending you much love, and I'll talk to you soon.